What's going on, guys? Ryan O'Toole back here again, giving you another MCU ranking. If you guys are new here, feel free to click that subscribe button and that bell notification icon for more reviews, reactions, rankings, and more movie content. With the conclusion of WandaVision, I felt like it would be a cool idea to do a bunch of MCU rankings, and on my social media and YouTube community page, I asked you guys what MCU ranking you like to see on my channel. And by far the most votes was for the final battles. So with all that said, I'm going to be ranking all 24 final battles in the MCU. We are for sure not going to have the same exact list. We're going to have different lists for sure, different opinions. Just make sure to always respect each other's lists in the comments below, as well as my list, because all film is subjective. Without further ado, let's kick it off with the MCU final battles.
You needn't have come so far, Asgardian. Death would have come to you soon enough.
Not by your hand.
Coming in last place at number 24 is going to be Thor: The Dark World. This to me is the most forgettable third act in the entire MCU. By the time you hit the 90-minute runtime, you're completely uninterested in what's going on. You already don't know anything about Malekith as a character, so you don't care about his motivations or what he's trying to do. He is trying to collect the ether and trying to turn the whole universe into dark matter. And his action scene with Thor is just pretty underwhelming to look at. Seeing these two gods fight each other all through London in different realms. All in all, the choreography is all over the place. It is emotionless. Plus you have Jane, Darcy, and Selvig and the intern just running around trying to be involved and do something in this final battle. So overall, this movie leaves no impact on you. This final battle leaves no impact on you. Captain Marvel is one of my least favorite MCU movies, and the final battle just is not that exciting at all. It feels like the filmmakers just had no idea how to really dive into Carol Danvers' powers, how she was able to gain them. You get that cool reveal that the Skrulls are not the villains of the whole entire film. They're just a desperate race of alien creatures whose home planet was basically destroyed by the Kree and the Supreme Intelligence if they didn't bow to her rule. And you get that part, you get invested in that storyline, but the final battle in particular just is not interesting at all. You got Captain Marvel, a very powerful character. She is super powerful, but they just don't know how to flesh her out. By the time you see Captain Marvel just effortlessly destroying all these ships, and Ronin's ship in particular is front and center, you just leaves no emotional resonance to you. And this whole final battle could have been done so much better. It could have fleshed out the character of Carol Danvers more, given her a worthy opponent, and leave an impactful final battle, and this one wasn't the case.
Obadiah, he's gone insane.
I know. Listen, you better get out of there.
Get
Get out right now.
Where do you think you're going?
The film that started it all for the entire MCU. Now, Iron Man in particular is an A-level tier film. This film started off the MCU perfectly. The first two acts are flawless. The character of Iron Man, what he goes through in the cave with the terrorists, is all fantastic. But by far, the biggest issue with Iron Man is the final battle. Once you do find out who Obadiah Stane really is, and that he's really jealous of Tony Stark and the direction he's taken the company, and he turns into the Ironmonger suit using Tony's invention, it becomes a very generic superhero final battle. It's not that the action sequence is bad, it's just very dull. And it's not that much going on. It's just these two robotic characters just fighting each other and getting electrocuted at the end. Overall, this final battle could have been done so much better, and it does get improved in the other installments. Iron Man 2 is not great. It's not an amazing movie. It's definitely my least favorite MCU movie. But I do like the final battle slightly more than the first film. Because you do add War Machine into this final battle, I really like that Iron Man is fighting all of Whiplash's bots that he takes control of in the final sequence with Justin Hammer's introduction, his presentation. You get to see different perspectives of this final battle with Tony and Rhodey fighting off Whiplash's bots. You also get to see Natasha Romanoff, Black Widow, and Happy Hogan break into Justin Hammer's facility and fight those security guards. We get to see Natasha using her abilities, which was awesome to see, and Whiplash behind the curtains controlling those bots and then showing up in the final moments. That part was definitely very underwhelming, just to see, you know, Ivan or Whiplash just wear this Ironmonger looking suit and fight our lead heroes off. It definitely piggybacks off of the original film, but the main reason why I like this final battle slightly more than the original is that you get more involvement from different characters like Rhodey, like Pepper, like Natasha. Definitely a very bland and okay MCU film. I don't hate Ant-Man and the Wasp. It just is not as good as the original Ant-Man. But I do really like the final battle in this film. Got Ant-Man, Wasp, Ghost, Walton Goggins and his crew all driving after this MacGuffin, which is Hank Pym's lab, which is basically a suitcase. I really like how this car chase does go down. You get to see Wasp use her abilities incredibly uniquely. And you get to see Michael Peña's character get involved in the action, driving the car. How they shrink up, just using it in very unique ways. The Hello Kitty Pez dispenser, like in the trailers, was cool. You get a cool Stan Lee cameo. So overall, it's just a really fun sequence. You know which sides are doing what.
Why have you done this?
To prove to Father that I am a worthy son. When he wakes, I will have saved his life. I will have destroyed that race of monsters, and I will be true heir to the throne.
You can't kill an entire race.
At number 19 is going to be Thor, the first Thor film directed by Kenneth Branagh with great gravitas. You see Thor really evolve as a character from an arrogant hero to this hero that learns to be worthy at the end. The final battle is not the greatest though. You got Loki, who's incredibly jealous of Thor and his father Odin because he is rightful to the throne, and he's using his frost giant abilities while Odin's in his sleep. He is very arrogant and selfish at the first act of this film, but he learns to be worthy while he is stuck on Earth. He was willing to sacrifice his own life for his friends on Earth against the big Asgard-looking creature thingy that almost kills Thor. He was willing to give up his life for his friends. And then he goes back to Asgard, fights Loki. It's a really cool fight. You know why both sides are fighting each other, Thor and Loki, for the throne. Their jealousy towards each other, mainly Loki to Thor. But it's cool to see Thor's character arc go down. And once Loki sacrifices himself at the end, well, he didn't die, it's a well-earned moment. But it's not the most memorable fight scene. Loki gets his ass kicked, Thor gets his ass kicked. There's just way better MCU final battles than this one. This film, I don't love it like a majority of people. And the final battle is definitely one of my least favorite in the MCU for sure. Not just the final battle, like all of the action scenes in this movie are very play it safe, very forgettable, all spoiled in the trailers. That's another huge issue. The final battle on the plane, where you got Vulture and his crew trying to hijack the Avengers plane, it's cool to see, but the action between Vulture and Spider-Man could have been done so much better. It's them on a plane, the plane crashes near Coney Island, and then you get Spidey and Vulture fighting each other. They do got personal motivations as to why they're doing what they're doing, but the action that is going down is just, it's very bland, very forgettable. I used to love the Sam Raimi trilogy, like the first Spider-Man film, with Green Goblin versus Spider-Man. It's a very brutal fight sequence. I don't hear anybody talking about this final battle sequence in Spider-Man Homecoming. It's a fun, cool John Hughes movie, but the final battle could have been done so much better.
I don't need a suit to kill you.
Black Panther is a very beloved film in the MCU. It's definitely one of my favorites for sure. The cultural impact, I've talked a lot about the film. And I do agree with people that the final battle in this film was the weakest part of the film. You know, revisiting the film multiple times, you totally understand Killmonger's motivation, why he believes in what he believes, and T'Challa as well. He's coming back from almost being murdered by Killmonger. They both have reasons why they're fighting each other, and everybody in Wakanda. The biggest issue is the CGI in certain scenes. Whenever they're outside of the vibranium zone, you see their suits start to shrink a little bit, and it looks like questionable CG. And the choreography could have been done a little better for sure. Those CG rhinos didn't look the best, but it didn't aggravate me like certain people did. But Black Panther, it's a very good MCU movie. Just the final battle could have been done better. Definitely the black sheep of the MCU. It doesn't feel like an MCU film, but they added Tony Stark in the end credit scene just to make it part of the MCU. But I do enjoy the film. I do think the third act is the best part of the film for sure, because you do get what you want, Hulk versus Abomination, and it was heavily teased in the trailers, and just to see Hulk and Abomination in the city just fighting each other with random objects is what I wanted. While we didn't get enough Hulk out moments, we do get some awesome iconic moments where Hulk takes a couple of cars, turns them into boxing gloves, and punches Abomination. Abomination punches him. Hulk does the clap like he does in the comics, and he says Hulk smash, which is an iconic phrase said by the character, and it's just a really cool sequence at the end. By far, this is a really underrated final battle in the MCU. I think more people are coming to appreciate it for sure. The film isn't the greatest, but the final battle is really entertaining. At number 15 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, a very divisive MCU film. I've come to like the film less every time I watch it. It's in my bottom tier for the MCU. Well, it's very clear that Ego is a sick bastard. He's incredibly evil, killing thousands of Star-Lord's siblings. They have a really cool final battle where Star-Lord turns into Pac-Man, and he as well as turning into a bigger version of himself. You do get the other Guardians getting involved in the final battle as well, saying some really cool iconic lines like, "I'm Mary Poppins, y'all," from Yondu. I have some big issues overall with the film in general. It's turning Drax into a comedic joke box. But Drax, I guess, has some cool moments. But I just really like the personal battle between Ego and Star-Lord in this final battle. It's by far the best act in the movie for sure. And it does pay tribute to Yondu. Rest in peace to that character, and it gives you a moment to breathe and feel the emotions after his death.
Wanda, you've never been up against another witch before. The Scarlet Witch is not born, she is forged.
I love WandaVision. I think it is a great start to Phase 4 of the MCU. All 9 episodes had different unique tastes to them, starting off with a classic tribute to the sitcoms of the past and turning it into an epic MCU battle sequence. Just awesome moments. I did have some issues with this final battle overall. It definitely is not the best choreographed, for sure. You got Vision versus White Vision. Some of the choreography between those two characters could have been done so much better. It looks like a really dull version of Man of Steel. While it's cool to see White Vision automatically show up to Wanda, seeing Vision versus Vision was cool at times, but could have been done better choreography-wise. But really, it's between Agatha Harkness and Wanda up in the skies. You get some of the great iconic moments for the character of Wanda becoming the Scarlet Witch like she was meant to be, the name drops in the previous episode. I want to see what's going to happen with Agatha Harkness. I want to see more from this character. But overall, this final battle could have been done better action choreography wise, but still one of my favorites.
Nice timing. Oh yeah, that's awesome. Give me a suit, okay? Oh, I'm sorry, they're only coded to me. What does that mean? I got you covered.
I've come to love Iron Man 3 the more times I rewatch the film. I just love the journey Tony Stark goes on. Basically, he is Iron Man without the suit on. It does frustrate me that he isn't in the suit most of the times, but I do think the final battle in here is very entertaining, seeing all the marked suits that come into the battle. While Iron Man 3 not may be a beloved film in the MCU by a lot of people, there are its defenders, and I just think this final battle is really entertaining to watch. You do understand Tony as a character is very flawed, and this Aldrich Killian guy, he is very jealous of Tony, and he does have a reason why he is fighting him. But it's Tony's arc as a character that basically understands that he doesn't need to be Iron Man with a suit on. Now that we're halfway into this list, guys, if this is your first time checking out the channel and you love MCU content and you want to see more like it on this channel, definitely hit that like button. It really helps out the channel a lot. And consider clicking that subscribe button. I talk MCU all the time. I do movie reviews every week, tons of ranking videos, including MCU. I talk tons of movie content. If you want to be a part of the community, hit the like and subscribe button, and let's talk movies.
Just give me the glasses.
You want these? Come and get them.
And Spider-Man Far From Home is a really solid Spider-Man entry. I did like it more than Homecoming, and the final battle in here is done incredibly uniquely. We all knew Mysterio was going to turn out to be the villain in this movie. He was heavily marketed as a hero and a sidekick to Spider-Man, in that he lied to him, setting up all of these elemental attacks that have happened. And to see this big elemental attack take down with these drones, all of these drones he has at his disposal. Peter has given him Edith, Tony's glasses, and so Mysterio has every tool he needs to fake everybody around the world. And it's a really cool action sequence. Spider-Man gets to take down some of Mysterio's drones, which is definitely cool to see. And Mysterio using his manipulations on Spidey is just really cool. I love that sequence in the hallway where Spidey can't see anything, and he's taking out these drones that are showing up out of nowhere.
You don't give up, do you?
This is one of my favorite films in the MCU, top 10 for sure. And I just love the character of Steve Rogers, Captain America, for everything he believes in, doing everything good for the good of mankind. And it's a very classic World War II film. Captain America's goal is to take down Hydra and the Red Skull, this Nazi Acton Superior Group Hydra, who wants to take over the world, and you got Captain America doing everything he can to stop them. The action sequences are really good in this final battle, and the love between Peggy Carter and Steve is just one of the best romances in the MCU. And we do get to see this awesome ship go up in the sky, where we got Cap versus Red Skull, just really cool to see. And the stakes are definitely high in this final battle, as all of humanity could be wiped out, as well as Steve having to sacrifice himself in the final moments.
Hey, Peanut. Why don't you pick on someone your own size?
One of the biggest risks in the MCU to date, and the first Ant-Man movie was a huge surprise. I love the comedy in this. It's one of the funniest MCU films to date, and the term funny definitely describes this final battle. When your final battle takes place on a Thomas the Tank Engine set, you earn yourself a top 10 spot, but also the emotion in this, with Scott just doing one thing, wanting to impress his daughter so that she can see him as the hero that he already is. It's a very powerful ending and a really cool final battle.
This is the best I can do. This is exactly what I wanted. All of you against all of me. How can you possibly hope to stop me?
Like the old man said. Together.
At number 9 is Avengers Age of Ultron, one of the most fun MCU films that knows exactly what it is. It is fun. The final battle in Sokovia is incredibly epic, just like the first Avengers. The stakes are high and our characters are kicking ass and taking names and throwing out some amazing jokes from left, right, and center. You give Hawkeye giving his pep talk to Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver, sacrifice at the end. It's got some incredible moments to it. It's got the great one-take shot that you saw in the first Avengers film, the circular shot where each Avenger's getting their moment to take down some bots, and Vision as well fighting Ultron. Vision has some incredible moments in this final battle. It's just everything you want in a comic book superhero film, and Ultron's demise is just one of the most satisfying and hilarious moments.
Dormammu, I've come to bargain.
You've come to die.
Usually in these final battles for the MCU, we have these group of characters. They have to try to stop the world from ending. The stakes are incredibly high. We have incredibly small stakes where a supersized ant can fight off and complete a heist. In this one, you just have these group of magicians trying to stop time and doom from happening. You have time inversions, you have time loops. That's Doctor Strange. Of course, you have Caecilius having his motivations for bringing Dormammu in, the dark dimension in, and you have Doctor Strange's responsibility of him going in and convincing Dormammu that he has a bargain. And he is just beating Dormammu endlessly by repeating the same sequence over and over again, saying, "Dormammu, I've come to bargain." It's definitely one of the best MCU final battles because it's so original and so unique, and it's definitely the best part of the movie. Definitely one of my favorite films in the MCU, and it took the character of Thor, who was my least favorite Avenger, and made him one of my favorite Avengers. Thor Ragnarok is probably the most fun MCU film to date. It's a Saturday morning cartoon. What I love about this final battle is not that it's so entertaining and energetic, but it takes the character of Thor, once again, who was my least favorite Avenger, and having him learn something more and more about himself. This guy has lost so much of his life. He lost his father, his mother, his brother many times has betrayed him, and he does lose Asgard as his home. But as a character, he learns Asgard is not a place. It never was. It's people. It's the people surrounding him that is Asgard. Valkyrie, Loki, Korg, Hulk fighting off Hela's dog. It is just so entertaining to watch. And to see the character of Scourge have an arc and his going out at the end was just incredibly awesome. Heimdall with the sword, come on now, Thor Ragnarok, this final battle gives you everything you want.
Child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things will get brighter. Listen to these words. Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things will get brighter.
The MCU film that made me give a chance for every single MCU film and to see every single MCU film, because this film had all the potential to fail, and it absolutely did not, by giving us a group of ragtag misfits to all root for. Ronan is a psychopath, he's very powerful, he's got the orb, and he's gonna bring all hell to Xandar and to Thanos possibly. And you got these Guardians with the hopes are going down. Where is the hope that they're gonna come out on top? And then you get to see some iconic moments, the score play out by Tyler Bates, incredible space battles going down up in the air. Yondu gets involved, you get to see a cool awesome moment with him and his bow and arrow for the first time, and just so many amazing jokes and humor and sad parts. Once they get inside Ronan's ship, you get to see these characters having their great moments. When they're about to die, Groot making that little tree ball and him saying, "We are Groot," and sacrificing himself. And by far the most shocking moment in defeating your villain, you're about to lose, you start to break dance, and then you win yourself at the end with that power orb and say, "You son of a bitch, we're the Guardians of the Galaxy." That is A-tier level moments. Definitely the most personal and strongest MCU film in that each side having different sides to one issue. The final battle is incredibly sad to watch because you're seeing the two characters who I love the most, Captain America and Iron Man, just fighting each other to death because you have Zemo, such an amazing villain. I cannot wait for him in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Just toying the minds of our lead characters and showing Bucky is the one that killed Tony's parents, but clearly he was being controlled. And that's a great arc for a villain and our heroes. It's incredibly powerful because you know where both sides are coming from. You know why both sides are fighting each other to the death. And you just want it to stop because you don't want anyone to die. The stakes are incredibly high in this. And it's incredibly powerful when Cap throws down the shield at the end, that there is no winner to this. And Civil War is incredibly impactful.
You know me.
The Russo brothers' directorial debut in the MCU, and The Winter Soldier is top 3 MCU movies for me. The final act of Winter Soldier is incredibly high stakes value. We know the turnout with Hydra, the twist that they were infiltrated in S.H.I.E.L.D. The stakes are high. Captain America makes the announcement, says who S.H.I.E.L.D. really is, Hydra's taken over, and you got the helicarriers up in the sky with the incredible score from Henry Jackman. I love Cap's action scenes. I love the Winter Soldier as a character, as a villain. Bucky's arc is incredible. And just the final fight between Bucky and Steve is the most emotional part of the film. Because these are two best friends fighting each other to the T. Cap is trying to get him to stop. Bucky saying, "You're my mission." Cap stops fighting him and says, "I'm with you till the end of the line, pal." And this final battle is the reason why this film is one of the best in the MCU. This film is one of the best theater experiences I have had in a long time, and the final battles on Wakanda and Titan are incredibly epic to say the least. The Battle of Wakanda would be my personal favorite, just to see Cap, Black Panther leading the charge against Thanos' army with those really ugly looking creatures is just beyond epic. You have them running full force against them, fighting each other to the T, and they're losing all hope. Thor shows up on Wakanda and says, "Bring me Thanos." And making Thanos come out on top at the end just made it the most surprising moment that they're doing something completely different. The heroes aren't winning this one, it's Thanos' movie. By the time he walks into Wakanda, they're already done. And so this made it one of the best final battles in the MCU. Joss Whedon is getting incredible hate right now after what he did to the Justice League, but what he did to the Avengers, taking these group of iconic Marvel heroes, putting them into one movie, and giving them time to fleshing them out and have a purpose to be there, made it one of the most remarkable moments in cinematic history. The final battle, I would have loved to put Infinity War, but I think personally the Battle of New York is more iconic and more special. You get to see all these characters coming together for the very first time with that tracking shot. They're fighting for one purpose, to fight off Loki and the Chitauri and have their moments. Cap leading the charge, Iron Man flying around against Chitauri, Hulk smashing the shit out of Chitauri, and Loki throwing him around like a rag doll. Puny God. It's funny, it's epic, it's high stakes, and it's awesome!
Avengers!
Assemble.
But easily coming in at number 1 is Avengers Endgame, my favorite MCU film. I really don't need to explain why. They brought back 2014 Thanos and his army, and they've come to battle. They're beating the crap out of each other, and the Avengers facility goes completely down. All hope is lost, but then they were able to get all the stones, snap the gauntlet, bring everybody back. The portals open, Alan Silvestri's score starts playing, and everybody in the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe shows up ready to battle. Cap says, "Avengers assemble." We've been waiting for that moment. Everybody in the MCU charges, fights off for 30 minutes straight, and it's 11 years of build-up. Oh man, the emotions are getting to me. Yeah, Avengers Endgame's easily number 1. What did you guys think of my list? You guys probably definitely disagree with a lot of placements on here, and if you do disagree, let me know your list down below. Let's have a great conversation. Seriously, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. I can't wait to see your list in the comments below, and look forward to other MCU rankings in the future. All my social media links are in the description below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!